The story begins when something emerged from the darkness since the beginning of time. Others say it was born from sin. A man is crawling, saying it can't defeat, who soon turns into a skeleton. Those that died with eyes wide open stared at his presence, while those that died with mouths open spoke his name with their final breath. Goofkin, the Demon King, the opposer of life, the Demon King of death who harvests souls. Mankind had united and fought against the Demon King, but 80% of them died on the 7th day. On the 9th day, one man stood alone against the Demon King. A nameless warrior who no one knew. He was mightier than any other hero on epopee, and showed extraordinary power beyond reason with just a single sword. He fought the Demon King for 4 days, torching the earth, but at last with the warrior's sword in his soul, the hero sealed the Demon King. The Demon King told the hero, it was unfortunate that they will spend their days trembling, waiting for his revival. At the tower of the sealed Demon King, which was a constantly dungeon at the end of the continent, a fierce warrior called the White Ragnar of Gotrud tells the Demon King he was the unfortunate one. He stands before the Demon King, telling it that it will soon fall by his hand. A hooded figure appears telling him that now is not the time to have his guard down, even though the Demon King is weakened, he once burned the earth, and that he will become unsealed on the 367,200th day, which is today, and must be killed. The warrior tells the man that he has never let his guard down, and activates his magic sword. He readies his sword and tells the Demon King to come forward. The hooded figure tells him to not let his guard down as a spell appears below his feet, pulling him into his surprise. It was the doing of the hooded figure as he tricked the warrior. He tells the warrior that he will be the one to unleash the seal as the warrior asks why he would do that as he slowly disappears. The hooded figure slowly removes his cover in front of the Demon King. The hooded figure was Alex, a elf magician. He chants a spell, wanting to unseal the Demon King. Light burst out of the status, destroying it as Alex wonders if the spell had worked. A figure emerges from the dust, asking Alex if he was the one to awaken it. Alex asks the figure if it was the Demon King. The figure laughs out loud, telling him how dare a low-life creature talks to him that way, and that yes, he was the opposer of life, the Demon King. Alex is confused, as the being standing in front of him was a small Goblin wearing a knight's helmet. Goofkin tells Alex to spread the word that the Demon King has returned. Goofkin continues to laugh while Alex remains silent. Alex smashes his head with the book, gaining EXP for each hit and telling him to shut up. Alex felt disappointed and wondered if the map was fake. He turns to the Goblin and asks if he had seen a Demon King around here. The Goblin tells him that the Demon King was him. Alex laughs at him, not believing that a Goblin could be the Demon King. Goofkin shouts in anger, saying what's wrong with a Goblin being the Demon King. Back in the past, when the Demon King was defeated and sealed by the warrior, but after some time, the Demon King was resurrected. And that was me, said Goofkin. Alex tells him to stop bullshitting. Back at the tower on the 24th floor, Goofkin tells Alex that he forgives him for the results as he broke the seal and wants to grant him a wish. Alex tells him that he wishes for the entire Goblin species to be killed, and wonders if Goofkin will kill himself first. Goofkin asks him if he still doesn't think of him as the Demon King, wondering if there were still inferior elves out in the world, which annoys Alex. He tells him to shut up as how is he supposed to believe him when he looks different from the statue. Alex asks Goofkin a bunch of questions relating to the legend and his replies were stupid. Alex tells him to leave as he has stuff to do. He tells him that it was thanks to the magic book that had been passed down in the warrior's family that allowed him to navigate the tower. This angered Goofkin as he only thought of those warriors shivering in fear when they were in front of him when he was sealed. He asked Alex why he removed the seal. Alex told him he wanted to destroy the world. Recalling a memory, flames surround a building as elves are seen being hung, telling Alex to run away. Another elf stands in front of him, telling him to find Goofkin to stop the warriors, saying that he believes Alex can do it. Alex says he will have his revenge by his bare hands. Goofkin says that is sorry that he might not be able to grant his wish, as he was planning on opening a restaurant. Goofkin tells him that their meeting made his heart pound while thinking of recruiting part-timers. The magic sword emperor was the one that beheaded a dragon and caused a star to fall, representing the sword. That was Goofkin, he says as he tells Alex that he was different from all the other rich demons who started with their own castles. Alex tells him that he believes he beheaded a dragon, which surprised him as they hear a noise. A massive red dragon was in front of them. Alex tells him to go and behead the dragon. Goofkin tells Alex that he can kill the dragon, which made Alex happy as he turns around, but Goofkin was seen running away. The dragon chases them as they both tried their best to run away while arguing with one another. Goofkin asks Alex if he had a sword, but Alex only had a fork, forcing Alex to use something else. He stops running, opening his book to chant a spell, Mimir's Eye. A giant claw appears out of the spell. It hits the dragon in a huge explosion. Both of them are happy seeing that it hit the dragon. But its tail appears, smashing the ground as they both dodge it. Goofkin falls to the ground but spots an object far away, while Alex attempts to retrieve his book. The dragon appears in front of Alex with its jaw wide open. Goofkin appears above, telling Alex to watch closely. That this was the true figure of the Goofkin, the Demon King. Back at where the Demon King statue stood, someone appears seeing traces of a Borkin seal. The figure says that it's one step behind. Wondering if the Demon King had resurrected while Goofkin fights the dragon. He leaps in the air, ready to strike. Alex stares in disbelief, wondering if this was the might of the Demon King. Goofkin smiles, asking Alex if he was surprised. But it turns out, he was stuck in the dragon's mouth and asks Alex to quickly save him. Alex calls him a dumbass for wanting to show off, while Goofkin tells him he thought it was a sword he grabbed but was actually a cross. Alex tells him to hold on as he does something. The ground below caves in, causing the dragon and Goofkin to fall down. Screams are heard as they fall into a deep dark hole. Alex finds him in the rubble and tells him to be quiet as they hide from the dragon. They encounter various situations, where Goofkin ended up screaming every time, as they try to escape from the dragon. Alex hits him with the book once again, telling him to shut up. Goofkin tells him that everyone fled because of his fierce roar. Alex calls it bullshit and will make him roar for 365 days. They reached a giant door, covered in red tape, and senses danger coming from it. Goofkin tells Alex they shouldn't head in, but Alex ignores him and opens the doors. Alex was happy as he stares at what he believes was the real sealed Demon King. Alex says they had to be careful with it, but Goofkin tells him that it was a cursed armor that he had sealed. Goofkin recalls when he bought the armor, stating that every time he uses it, it costs money and there was no refund. They argue with one another to decide if they should break the seal, but the dragon appears, smashing the gates. But its head was sliced off cleanly, surprising the two of them. Nobody moves, said a voice. A pair of feet stands on top the dead dragon and a badge is raised, saying that for the crimes of theft and breaking into a national sealed area and unauthorized release of a seal. They were under arrest as an officer is revealed. She walks towards them, telling them they have no rights to defend and no lawyer to call. The officer was called Maria, a warrior of the 3rd unit. Goofkin appears angry as she belonged to the bloodline of the warrior who had sealed him. Alex rushes to grab his book but found it missing. Turns out that Goofkin had the book and gave it straight to Maria. Alex shouts at him asking what he was doing. Goofkin tells Alex they doesn't want to dwell on past resentments and said goodbye to Alex, telling him he will visit Alex in jail. Maria approaches Alex saying it was difficult for them to go after the books of the warriors that were stolen. She tells him that a reduced sentence was possible, as long as he gave up the location of the Demon King. Night arrives at the sealed Demon King Tower. Goofkin tells Maria that he was just a goblin that was passing by. Maria questions him asking if he was at the scene of the unsealment and whether he knew anything. Goofkin tells her he knows nothing. Alex remains silent with handcuffs. Alex calls Goofkin a traitor. He tells Alex that he was trying to protect them and to not be a rat. Alex then tells him he was bowing down in front of a warrior like a coward and was pathetic, shocking him. Goofkin became angry, telling Alex how he dares to mock him about bowing down to a warrior and calling him a coward. Alex then grabs the attention of Maria, asking her where she thinks Goofkin came from, shocking Goofkin. Goofkin tells Maria not to worry where a goblin like him came from, as Alex spots an opportunity to grab the book from Maria's hand. Maria catches on, punching Alex in the stomach. She grabs Alex's throat, holding Alex tightly against the pillar. Goofkin tells Maria to let him go as Alex might die. She tells him she was enforcing the law and to step back. Goofkin bargains with her. Maria tells her that a warrior exists for justice. She smiles wickedly, saying everything she does is justice. Alex struggles to talk as Maria tells him he can do nothing without the book. But Alex held onto a piece of a page from the book. Alex's chants the spell, causing an explosion. Goofkin asks if this was the plan all along. Alex tells him it was not over. Maria comes out of the flames unscathed, saying that the law will never have a single hesitation. Alex asks if it was justice that burned down the academy. The students were thrown into a fire alive, while being hanged without knowing why. If that was justice. Alex breaks his glasses, saying he will be evil if that was justice, while Maria smiles. Alex tells Maria to leave Goofkin alone as he had nothing to do with this, surprising him. Maria lets Goofkin go, but Goofkin asks Alex why he didn't say he was the Demon King. Goofkin is stunned to hear that Alex was worried about him. Alex waves goodbye to Goofkin, the Demon King. Goofkin stares in silence. He laughs as he walks past Maria to get away. But he tells Maria he had one thing to say before leaving. He jumps above, yelling that he was the great Demon King, Lord Goofkin. Maria easily stabs Goofkin, saying it was nonsense. She tells him that it was a joke that a goblin was a Demon King and flings him straight into a pillar, destroying it. Alex holds onto Goofkin asking why he did that, and he tells Alex that he wanted to return something to him. It was the Book of Warriors. Alex grabs the book, telling him that he will take it from here. Alex chants a spell in front of the sealed statue. He commands to awaken it here and now. But the statue was sliced in half before Alex could finish the spell. The attack came from Maria as she tells him how he could stop the greatest warrior and that he was a foolish elf. Pieces of the destroyed statue float around. Alex thinks it's over now. Goofkin grabs the broken sword, saying it worked. He stands up proud now that he has a sword, making this the true comeback of Goofkin the Demon King. He tells Alex to watch closely as he walks towards Maria, waving the broken sword in the air as Alex worries about him. Goofkin recalls a memory and wonders why everyone always throws their petty lives away. He asks Alex again if he still wished for the world's annihilation as Maria swings her sword. He tells Alex he will grant your wish, as he slices with immense strength. It hits Maria, and a powerful strike was seen. The tower is seen standing still as the strike emerges from within. Alex is stunned just like Maria as her sword is broken. Goofkin smiles happy, saying not bad, as he used his X skill called Sword Equip. Goofkin runs to Alex laughing madly, as he asked if he saw the scared warrior's face. Maria tells him she wasn't scared, but Alex tells her to look behind. She turns around, only to see that even the moon was sliced in half from Goofkin's sword. She kneels down, saying it was impossible. Goofkin stands proud, telling Alex it was time to destroy the world. A giant worm is screaming. A man appears, ripping the worm into shreds. Pieces of the worm flies everywhere. Alex seen calling for Ray as a hand appears underneath the dead worm. Ray appears, covered in the blood of the dead worm. Back at the Eridration Academy, a school founded in tribute to the magician Eridration and for the purpose of researching magic. Ray tells Alex that everyone kept mistaking her as Alex. She tells Alex that she will be late as she will be helping Professor Lydia with her research. Alex asks Ray if the research was based on warriors. Ray tells her no, and that her research was based on the Demon King, Goofkin. Alex asks why research on such an old subject, but also with Professor Lydia, who focuses on potion and sealing magic and appears dangerous. And that an assistant of hers went missing last time using dark magic, but they were interrupted by the professor who said her experiment was a huge success. Lydia asks Alex if she had a problem with her experiment or with her skin color. Alex panics and says it was a misunderstanding, calling to Ray for help, as Ray explains that Alex was just making racist comments against dark elves while smiling. Lydia tells Ray she was on the way to the lab and the both of them leave together, while Alex look. Lydia smiles back ominously. Back at the dorm, Ray returns and slams onto the bed. Alex asks if she had just returned, and Ray replies with gibberish. Alex tells her to wash up before sleeping and Ray marches like a zombie. Alex notices the research notes, and opens them to read when she notices something. It was a paper about plans for the resurrection of the Demon King. Alex kept reading, and read logs of the experiment's horrible attempts on resurrecting the Demon King. And that the most potential species is, but before she could finish, she was interrupted. Ray appears, asking what she was looking at. Alex tells her that the Warrior Agency will not leave people associated with the resurrection of the Demon King alone. She further asks if this was Lydia's idea and that she was being deceived. Ray turns around to tell Alex to stop treating her like a fool, and that how long she'll pretend to be her stupid little sister. This shocks Alex. Alex then recalls a rumor that Lydia had once placed her personality into her lab assistant in the lab. Back at the academy, something was happening that grabbed the attention of all the students around. Maria had appeared at the school. Groot appears before Maria. Its name was Pinocchio, the gatekeeper. Maria shows her badge, telling the gatekeeper that she had received a report that there's someone related to the resurrection of the Demon King in the school. Groot tells her she cannot enter the school with her weapon, but Maria tells Groot that the warrior's law is above all else. Elf appears, telling Groot that she had evidence and not to stop her. Alex tells them that he is the evidence, as he had seen it with his own eyes. Back in a room, a dark elf is thinking heavily about the warrior's next target. Maria enters saying what transforming into a dark elf was an unexpected move. It's been a while, Lady Dimitri the betrayer, surprising Dimitri as she wonders how Maria came inside her room. But Maria quickly appears behind her. She stabs her straight in the chest, declaring her charges of plotting to resurrect the Demon King and sentenced her to immediate execution. Alex enters the room, staring at what Maria did. Maria thanks Alex for his cooperation. But Alex was shocked at what happened, screaming at Maria. Ray enters the room wanting to ask the professor about the experimental data, but is shocked at what she sees. Ray turns to Alex as he tries to tell her that he didn't mean for this to happen. She grabs his hand, telling him to quickly run away from the place. Maria holds the head, and reports that she has secured the suspect and evidence, and declared in the name of the Dragon Emperor, that elves in the school will now be classified as monsters. Alex and Ray are running as fast as they could. Alex asks Ray why they were running and Ray explains that the warriors had started their plans and that the professor found out about the warriors' secret. As Ray explains, Alex notices something bright. The school was burning with flames all over. He wonders why the school was burning and what the warriors were doing. Alex wondered if all this happened because of him. An attack destroys the ground. As Maria announces that all the people in the school will be executed immediately. Ray had managed to block the attack from Maria. She tells Alex to get behind her as Maria approaches them from the other side. Maria strikes again, calling Ray as nothing but a student. Ray manages to still block it. Alex tells her good job and that he'll take charge from now, but a light appears all of a sudden. He notices that it was a teleportation spell. Ray tells him that she will hold them back as he needs to escape. Alex is startled by this plan. Ray shouts that Alex needs to find Goofkin in the Book of Warriors in order to stop the warriors. Alex tells her to stop, that she needed him in order to fight. But Alex simply smiled at him. Ray's protection slowly broke apart, as she whispered that she was happy that she managed to protect Alex at least once. The teleportation activates just as Alex saw Ray died in front of him. He tries to reach out, but it was too late. Alex was now in a different place. He screams madly, as he failed to save his twin sister, Ray. He went back to the school, only to see it in ruins with nothing but burnt bodies. Alex couldn't forgive the warriors and most importantly, himself. He blamed himself. as he thinks of Ray. He cried tears of blood, as he promised to resurrect the Demon King. And to make sure that the warriors' bodies will burn in flames. Back in the present, Goofkin and Alex are seen lining up for something. Alex asks Goofkin what the place was, and why they were lining up. Turns out the place was for people to register and sign up for to be the Demon King, stunning Alex. Lightning strikes throughout the night. Goofkin's feet is seen. As he walks down the staircase, he tells that 1,000 years had passed since he was sealed by the warrior. But now is the time to start the task that was stopped 1,000 years ago. Be prepared. The Rhapsody of Doom shall now begin. He yelled out. But a staff member tells Goofkin that he wasn't registered in the Demon King database, meaning he can't make a move now. Goofkin tells her what she meant by that. Rita explained that his ID had been frozen since he stopped paying for membership fees, and that he can sign on once he pays his overdue debt. Goofkin asks her how he could have paid when he was sealed for 1,000 years. Rita explains that they had an auto payment for that reason and that Goofkin owes 50 billion and more. Goofkin told her he could buy the world with that amount of money as Alex stares in complete silence of the situation. Back at the Demon King Support Center, Chuck Branch. It was explained that high-ranking demons and demigods monopolized the status of the Demon King, but now times have changed. Ogres, war beasts, liches, iron golems. This was an era where every species can become the Demon King. Hilty explains to Alex that all jobs for all species was the foundation of the guild, meaning anyone could join. But she tells him that there was one species that they were wary of. Rita tells Goofkin that it would be hard to register the same name for him. This made him mad as he wants to use his own name and demanded to see the manager. Rita explains that the name Goofkin had been used many times and it was at maximum usage as all the people in line were using that name. Goofkin shouts out why there were so many of them. Alex asks him if this was important to fight against the warriors. Rita explains to Alex that war is short and conquest was long, and that the guild ensures that the Demon King can retire once everything is done. And that the guild will help in managing the armies and tax collection and territory management. Rita and Hilty further explain that world conquest alone is hard, but with the guild it would be doable. Goofkin asks Alex if he understands now, but Alex says no. Rita then asks if Alex was registered in any guilds. Alex replies that he has never registered before. She recommends him to register as a Demon King. Goofkin yells that's impossible. How can a servant leave him and become a Demon King? He tells Alex to listen closely and that the path of a Demon King is not easy. The title of a Demon King is a path of suffering, a life where the only thing you can depend on is your sword. You will spend your days resting on the mountains of bodies. Eventually, your glory and victory will be fade. And all that's left will be your karma and spirits that stick to you like a shadow. Their hatred and curse will become your life. Alex ignores Goofkin's words and heads to the counter to register. He fills out the application easily. A new Demon King has been born. Alex the Demon King. Rita hands him his Demon King ID. Alex asks Goofkin if this was all they need to fight the warriors, but Goofkin tells him what is he saying and that they needed to buy a demon castle and get 4 devis. Alex grew mad wondering why there was a puppy as part of the 4 devis. Hilty tells them they could purchase those things with an extra fee loan, but Alex declines. Goofkin tells him that they can take their time and do things one at a time. He says it'll be difficult to do anything for now. Goofkin tells him how less scary he would be when facing the warriors without the 4 devis or a castle. Alex tells him not to focus on useless things. Maria is seen walking through a long hallway. Someone is sitting at the table, saying that without the 4 devis and a castle, he wouldn't be able to attack as that was how the system was built. A flag is waving in the air, on top of a clean building. It was the warrior agency, Carton State. Warriors were selected from the direct line of the first warriors with aptitude and to take charge in subjugating and stopping the great Demon King movements under the command of the 12 warrior generals. Maria reports she had returned from her mission. The figure tell her good job, but she had failed to bring back the Book of the Warriors. And that she also failed to prevent the resurrection of Demon King Goofkin. She tells him she has no excuses. He holds a paper wondering how the greatest elite could fail both missions. Maria apologizes and says she'll take on any punishment. The figure was the warrior general of the 3rd unit. He tells her that there will be no punishment. He wonders if he should just tell the Senate that they succeeded. He was also known to be lazy. Reports that the general had submitted are shown where a pair of normal shoes were reported as a mage using invisible magic, a vampire lord that looked exactly like a normal bat, and that a report by warrior Kane states that Goofkin was sealed today, surprising Maria. "Ha, surprised. This is the dignity of your senior," said a shadow by the door. It was Kane the warrior. Maria asks him if he had really sealed Goofkin, and he replies that he had brought him here. He presented a goat as Goofkin the Demon King. He explains that the goat's features such as its horns and eyes were evidence that it was Goofkin the Demon King. The general signs deeply and tells him he did it as he proceeds to stamp the report. Maria tells the general that he didn't solve anything. She tells him that the legend of Goofkin was not a lie and that they need to prepare all their forces. She explains that Goofkin was different, and that his strength and appearance could destroy mythologies. The general tells her he had read the report. He questions her whether he had split the moon with one swing of his sword, and Maria tells him that the report was perfect without a single mistake. He then tells her if it was a goblin, turning Maria white. The general asks her if she was beaten by a goblin. Maria was embarrassed and said yes quietly, as Kane laughs at her for being beaten by a goblin. The general tells her that Kane will take over and that she will take on another case. Maria objects, but he stares at her. Maria felt an immense pressure, and the general asks her what her answer is. She said she understood. Maria walks back into the hallway. Kane appears asking her if she was planning to disobey the orders and go after Goofkin, and that he could clearly see what she was thinking. He tells her he could offer her some intel, but she ignores him until he grabs her shoulder. Kane tells her that he understands her situation because of the some stinking bloodline, which was why she was desperate to be involved with them. "You should be thankful," he said, as Maria powers start to come out. She calms down, saying the Chuck Spirit Forest in the southwest? "Let's go," surprising Kane. He questions why she suddenly asked for help. She turns to him and says that upholding justice comes first, and that she had seen great evil, demon kings that want to destroy the world for fun, but that Goofkin was different. Back at the office, the general is thinking deeply, saying that Goofkin wouldn't be a problem once that thing was complete. He stares at a capsule holding Ray's head. Ray's head was still alive as she says Alex. At the Great Wall. We arrive at Margam the Wall Village. Goofkin is panting with handcuffs. People are staring at something. Alex tells them to make way and that Goofkin is a well-trained familiar spirit and he won't bite, as Goofkin is tied up like a BDSM doll. Goofkin tries to talk but nothing is heard. At a tavern. Goofkin spits out the ball gag. He shouts at Alex, telling him why he did that to him and that he wasn't into this kind of thing. Alex tells him to quiet down. He explains that dogs and goblins weren't allowed in the store. Goofkin is mad that he was compared to a dog. Alex tells him to hang on as this place will be worth it. He explains that this store serves Panu assorted steak, which was extremely delicious. Goofkin tries to leave, but Alex grabs him by the ribbon on his helmet. He tells Goofkin that they were going to try the Panu meal as well. Goofkin tells him that makes him weirder and why he would eat that. They continue to argue between themselves, grabbing the attention of the workers and patrons of the store. Alex tells Goofkin the story about the warriors saving the world from Goofkin's conquest, which surprises him. The species of the continent were then split into the Demon King's army and the Alliance. Goofkin didn't like the fact that they were called army while the warriors were called the Alliance. Alex tells him to shut up and listen. The species that sided with the Demon King, dragons, vampires, werewolves, orcs and others were treated as monsters and ostracized till now. Goofkin tells Alex that he didn't know that happened after he was sealed. Goofkin regrets not being more diverse in selecting the soldiers for his army, and that he couldn't recruit humans because they were too expensive. A man appears at their talk as they were talking. It was Raziad. He tells them how dare a monster eat at the same table as a human and that they should get lost. Alex tells him not to worry as Goofkin was under his control, but Raziad meant that for Alex, calling him a elf bitch. He continues saying that the Alliance had announced that elves from the Academy were classified as monsters. The staff agrees with resurrected, asking Alex to leave the store unless he was from their alliance. Alex grabs onto his book, angrily. He calls them stupid humans and told them he won't eat and will just leave then. He calls for Goofkin, but he remained at his seat wondering why there weren't any ham-egg sandwiches on the menu. Goofkin asks Alex where he was going since they came to the store to eat. So let's eat, he says. He tells the staff what makes them think this has nothing to do with you, and that the band started with dogs and goblins and now elves. And that soon dwarves, gnomes and other species will follow. Finally, humans will be divided by their skin color and origins because that was the warrior's way. Resurrected smashes the table, saying that a monster shouldn't insult the great warriors. Goofkin calls him a half-breed between a giant and human, and to listen to what he says as the giants may be next. This angers Resurrected. He swings his fist at Goofkin again, telling him to shut his mouth. Goofkin smiles as blood is seen. Back at the town, Alex tells Goofkin that he was really weak without a sword. He tells Alex to shut up as he just had his guard down for a moment. He tells Alex to heal him like a subordinate would, but Alex tells him to just lick his wounds. Alex asks why Goofkin was so stubborn even when he didn't want to eat. Goofkin tells him it's because Alex wanted to eat and that as a boss he would not let his subordinates starve. Alex offers his hand to him, telling him that even though he can't heal him, he can offer his hand. They walk towards the setting sun, discussing their plans on ruling the world. At the northwestern part of the continent, the great forest of death, a voice is heard, saying, "Give it to me." The voice belongs to the demon sword, Chutras. Who will give power to those that give up their soul to it? Argo, a human adventurer, appears, saying he will give his soul or life in exchange for power as he grabs the sword. The sword agrees and gives him a power that best suits his soul. Argo then became Argo Chutras, a death knight. He talks out loud, saying he will make the humans who look down on him suffer in the name of Argo Chutras. Goofkin appears behind him laughing at his name. He tells Argo to think about his name a bit longer or else he will regret it. Goofkin asks him if he knew where they were as he had lost his way as he says Argo's name wrongly. Argos attacks Goofkin for saying his name wrongly. Argo smiles happily at the fact that a single swing was this powerful as the sword says that it didn't expect to have a goblin as its first offering, but Argos realizes something. Goofkin was still alive and tells Argos he should change the arrangement of his name. He swings at Goofkin while Goofkin laughs at him. Goofkin continues to mock Argos for using the same name as the sword as little girls would do that while dodging all the attacks. Argos releases his skill Crimson Death. Goofkin jumps out of the way easily, but Argos was smiling, telling Goofkin that the skill cannot be dodged as light appears below the ground. It pierces Goofkin's body while Argos laughs at him saying serves you right, but he notices something. Goofkin was still okay. The sword decides to release all its limit and to initiate its technique. Argos tells Goofkin consider it an honor, as his X skill Armored Chutras activated. The skill consumes the life force from the surrounding to generate armor. Goofkin just stares in wonder. Argos had transformed into the complete form. "I'll squash you like an ant," he shouts, as he recalls the people that looked down on him. Goofkin tells him that stepping on an ant was a fun thing to do. Goofkin's shadow starts to come alive, as he tells Argos that strength like a god feels excitement, but that kind of strength turns to nothing all too easily. In front of a bigger beast, as a giant eye appears from Goofkin's shadow. Argos screams that there was a monster in the shadow, as sounds could be heard. Goofkin then asks Argos if he knew where Erlen Mountain Range was. Feeling Goofkin's overwhelming strength, Argos politely points the way to the mountain just as Alex calls out to Goofkin. Goofkin leaves Argos. Alex asks Goofkin what took him so long and that he hated going up and down the mountain. Goofkin tells him he knows the way now. Goofkin tells Alex that they were gonna recruit the loyal orcs first into their demon army.